What happens when a prince walks into a live television studio thinking his title gives him a free pass to say whatever he wants? In just 36 seconds, one explosive comment will turn a routine interview into a public spectacle that leaves everyone watching absolutely stunned. The studio lights are blazing hot, cameras are rolling, and sitting across from one of television's most respected hosts is Prince Harry, a member of the British royal family who has agreed to sit down for what was supposed to be a candid conversation about his recent public statements. But from the very first question, something feels off. The prince shifts in his seat, his expression already defensive before the host even finishes speaking. The host, Piers Morgan, leans forward with that signature intensity that has made him a household name. He is known for asking the tough questions, for not backing down, for holding people accountable regardless of their status or title. Today will be no different. Prince Harry, thank you for being here, Piers begins, his voice steady and professional. I want to start with something that has been on everyone's mind. You have made some very serious allegations about your family, about the institution you were born into, but many people are asking, where is the evidence? Where are the facts to back up these claims? Harry's jaw tightens, his eyes narrow. Instead of answering the question directly, he lets out a short, bitter laugh. You would not understand, Piers. You have never been in my position. You have never had to deal with what I have dealt with. Piers does not flinch. Perhaps not, but I am asking you as a journalist, as someone who believes in truth and accountability. If you are going to make accusations of this magnitude, the public deserves to see proof. They deserve more than just your word. My word should be enough. Harry snaps back, his voice rising. I am telling my truth. That is what matters. The tension in the studio is already thick enough to cut with a knife, and they are barely 5 minutes into the interview. The crew behind the cameras exchange nervous glances. This is not going according to plan. Piers takes a breath, maintaining his composure. Your truth is important, absolutely, but truth, real truth, is not subjective. It is not just about feelings or perceptions. When you accuse people of serious wrongdoing, you need evidence, you need facts. Otherwise, it is just one person's story against another. Harry leans back in his chair, crossing his arms. The defensive posture is unmistakable. This is exactly what I expected from you. You are just like all the rest. You are protecting the institution. You are protecting them. I am not protecting anyone, Piers responds, his voice firm but controlled. I am asking for basic journalistic standards. If someone came on this show and made serious accusations about you without providing any proof, would you not want them challenged? Would you not expect me to ask questions? That is different, Harry says quickly, waving his hand dismissively. How is it different? Piers presses, leaning forward again. Explain to me how it is different. Why should you be held to a lower standard than anyone else who comes on this program? The prince shifts uncomfortably, clearly not expecting to be challenged so directly. Because of who I am, because of what I have been through. Because my family, the institution, they have resources and power that I do not have anymore. But you do have power, Piers counters. You have a massive platform. You have millions of people listening to every word you say. You have book deals, television interviews, streaming contracts. You have plenty of resources to present evidence if it exists. So again, I ask you, where is it? Harry's face is flushing now, his frustration becoming more visible with each passing second. You just do not get it. You will never get it. Then help me get it, Piers says, his tone still measured. I'm giving you the opportunity right here, right now, to explain yourself, to provide context, to show the world why they should believe what you are saying. This is your chance. Instead of taking the opportunity, Harry doubles down. I should not have to prove anything to you or anyone else. People should just believe me. They should trust me. Piers shakes his head slowly, a look of genuine disappointment crossing his face. That is not how the world works, Harry. That is not how truth works. Trust is earned. It is built on consistency, on evidence, on actions, matching words. You cannot just expect people to accept everything you say at face value simply because of your title. My title? Harry's voice is getting louder now. You want to talk about my title? You have been obsessed with my title since the moment I walked in here. You cannot stand that someone like me would dare to speak out, would dare to challenge the system. I have no problem with you speaking out, Piers responds calmly. In fact, I encourage it. What I have a problem with is making accusations without backing them up. What I have a problem with is asking for privacy while simultaneously giving interview after interview. What I have a problem with is the contradiction, the hypocrisy. Harry stands up abruptly, his chair scraping loudly against the studio floor. The crew freezes. The cameras keep rolling. You have no right to call me a hypocrite. You sit here in your comfortable chair, in your comfortable life, judging people you know nothing about. Piers remains seated, his voice calm but firm. Please sit down, Harry. We are having a conversation. This is what interviews are, questions and answers. Discussion and debate. This is not a conversation, Harry shoots back, pointing an accusatory finger at Piers. This is an interrogation. This is you trying to make me look bad. This is you doing exactly what the rest of the media has always done to me and my wife. I am asking you questions that any reasonable journalist would ask, Piers says, still maintaining his composure even as the situation escalates. If you are not prepared to answer them, then perhaps you should not be doing interviews. The words hang in the air like a challenge. Harry's face goes from flushed to nearly crimson. His hands ball into fists at his sides. You arrogant, disrespectful man. How dare you? How dare you speak to me like that? Piers raises an eyebrow. I am speaking to you like I would speak to any guest on this program, with respect, but also with honesty. If you find that uncomfortable, that says more about you than it does about me. You do not know what respect means, Harry spits out. You are just a bitter, small-minded man who makes his living tearing other people down. Now Piers stands as well, his patience clearly wearing thin, but his voice still controlled. I make my living asking questions that need to be asked. I make my living holding people accountable. And right now, I am trying to understand why you think you are above that accountability. I am not above anything, Harry snaps. But I am also not going to sit here and be attacked by someone like you. Someone like me? Piers repeats, his tone sharpening just slightly. And what exactly does that mean? Harry waves his hand dismissively again, a gesture that is becoming his signature move in this interview. You know exactly what it means. You are everything that is wrong with the media. You are everything that drove me and my wife away from our home, away from our family, away from everything we knew. Piers shakes his head. I did not drive you anywhere, Harry. You made your choices. You chose to leave. You chose to give up your royal duties. You chose to move across the world. You chose to sign massive commercial deals. And you chose to keep talking publicly about the very family you claim to want privacy from. Those were your choices. Own them. The studio is silent except for the quiet hum of the equipment. The crew is watching this unfold like a car crash they cannot look away from. Everyone knows this interview has gone completely off the rails. Harry's voice drops to something cold and bitter. You have no idea what it is like to be me. You have no idea what it is like to grow up in the spotlight, to have every single moment of your life scrutinized, to watch your mother be destroyed by people like you. Piers' expression softens just slightly, acknowledging the pain behind those words. You are right. I do not know what that is like, and I have enormous sympathy for what you went through as a child. What happened to your mother was a tragedy. But Harry, you cannot use that tragedy as a shield forever. You cannot hide behind it every time someone asks you a difficult question. I am not hiding behind anything, Harry says through gritted teeth. Then answer the questions. Piers says simply, it is that easy. Stop deflecting. Stop attacking me personally. Just answer the questions I am asking you. Harry laughs, but there is no humor in it. Why should I? So you can twist my words? So you can take everything I say and use it against me? I have seen how you operate, Piers. Everyone has seen how you operate. I do not twist words, Piers responds, his frustration finally starting to show. I quote people directly. I present facts. I ask follow-up questions. If you find that threatening, then maybe the problem is not with my questions, but with your answers. There it is, Harry says, pointing at Piers again. There is the real you, the nasty, vindictive man who cannot handle anyone standing up to him. Piers crosses his arms. I have no problem with people standing up to me, Harry. But standing up to someone does not mean throwing a tantrum when they ask you legitimate questions. It does not mean making personal attacks. It does not mean acting like you are somehow special and exempt from the same standards everyone else is held to. I am special, Harry says, and the moment the words leave his mouth, he seems to realize how they sound. But instead of backtracking, he doubles down. Whether you like it or not, I am a prince. I was born into a position that you could never understand. I have responsibilities and burdens that you could never comprehend." Piers stares at him for a long moment, and when he speaks, his voice is deadly calm. There it is. The truth finally comes out. You think you are special. You think your title makes you better than everyone else. You think it gives you the right to say whatever you want without being questioned. And when someone does question you, when someone treats you like the adult you were supposed to be, you throw it back in their face and cry, "Victim!" Harry's eyes flash with anger. "You have no right to speak to me this way." "I have every right," Piers fires back. "This is my show. You agreed to come here. You agreed to this interview. And part of that agreement, whether you like it or not, is that I get to ask you questions. Real questions. Hard questions. Questions you clearly are not prepared to answer. This interview is over," Harry declares, reaching up to remove his microphone. "Do not do that," Piers says, his voice sharp. "Do not run away. Do not prove everyone right who says you cannot handle criticism." But Harry is already unclipping the microphone from his collar. "I do not have to listen to this. I do not have to sit here and be insulted by a man who has built his entire career on being cruel to people." "I am not being cruel," Piers insists. "I am being honest. There is a difference. And if you cannot tell the difference, that is not my problem." Harry throws the microphone down on his chair. The sound echoes through the studio. "You know what your problem is, Piers? You think you are some kind of champion of truth, some kind of moral authority, but you are just a bully with a television show." Piers takes a step toward him, his voice rising for the first time. "And you are a spoiled, entitled man who cannot handle being treated like everyone else. You want all the benefits of being a prince without any of the responsibility. You want all the attention without any of the scrutiny. You want everyone to feel sorry for you while you live in a mansion and sign multi-million-dollar deals. And when someone calls you out on it, you throw a fit and run away." The words hit Harry like physical blows. His face goes pale, then red again. He opens his mouth to respond, but nothing comes out at first. Then, finally, he finds his voice. "You are a disgrace to journalism. You are everything that is wrong with this industry. And I feel sorry for anyone who has to work with you or for you." Piers does not back down, "And you are a disgrace to your family, to your title, and to everyone who ever believed in you. You had every advantage in life, every opportunity, and you squandered it because you could not handle a little bit of criticism, because you thought you deserved to be treated differently than everyone else." Harry's hands are shaking now, his entire body trembling with barely contained rage. "I am done here. I am done with you. I am done with all of this." "Then go," Piers says, gesturing toward the exit. "Walk out. Prove my point. Show everyone watching that you cannot handle a real conversation. Show them that underneath all the talk about truth and authenticity, you are just someone who wants to be coddled and protected from any kind of accountability." Harry turns toward the studio doors, but before he can take a step, he spins back around. "You want to know the real truth, Piers? The real truth is that people like you are the reason people like me cannot be honest. You twist everything. You make everything into a scandal. You make it impossible for anyone to just be human." "That is not true, and you know it," Piers shoots back. "I have interviewed thousands of people, celebrities, politicians, ordinary citizens. Most of them manage to answer questions without having a meltdown. Most of them understand that being interviewed means being challenged. The only reason you are struggling is because you are not used to anyone saying no to you. You are not used to anyone questioning your narrative." "My narrative?" Harry's voice is reaching a fever pitch now. "You mean my life? You mean my experiences? You mean the things that actually happened to me?" "I mean the story you are selling," Piers clarifies, "the carefully constructed image you are trying to present. The victim narrative that conveniently ignores all your own choices, all your own actions, all your own contradictions." Harry takes a threatening step toward Piers. "You need to watch how you speak to me." Piers stands his ground, not intimidated in the slightest. "Or what? You will have me thrown out of my own studio? You will complain about me in your next interview? You will write about me in your next book? Go ahead, Harry. Do whatever you want. But it will not change the fact that you came on this show unprepared to defend your own words." For a moment, it looks like Harry might actually take a swing at Piers. The tension is that thick, that volatile. But then something in him seems to deflate. The anger turns to something else, something that looks almost like defeat. "You are not worth it," Harry says quietly, but the venom is still there under the surface. None of this is worth it. Then why did you come? Piers asks, genuinely curious now. Why did you agree to this interview if you were not prepared to actually be interviewed? Harry does not answer. He just stares at Piers for a long, uncomfortable moment. Then he turns and walks toward the exit, but he stops at the door, hand on the handle, and looks back one more time. I hope you are proud of yourself, Harry says, his voice dripping with contempt. I hope you feel good about what you have done here today. Piers does not hesitate. I feel fine, Harry. I did my job. I ask questions. That is what journalists do. If you do not like it, do not give interviews. Harry opens his mouth like he wants to say something else, something cutting, something that will give him the last word, but nothing comes. Instead, he just shakes his head in disgust and pushes through the studio doors. They swing shut behind him with a heavy thud that seems to punctuate the entire disastrous exchange. The studio is silent. Nobody moves. Nobody speaks. The cameras are still rolling, capturing Piers standing alone in the middle of the set, looking at the doors Harry just walked through. Piers turns to face the camera directly. His expression is calm, composed, almost sad. Well, he says to the audience at home, I think that speaks for itself. We invited Prince Harry here today to have an honest conversation about his recent statements and allegations. We asked him fair questions. We gave him every opportunity to explain himself, to provide context, to make his case. And this was his response. He could not handle being questioned. He could not handle being treated like anyone else who comes on this program. And when the questions got too difficult, when he realized he could not just rely on his title to carry him through, he walked out. He pauses, letting that sink in. That tells you everything you need to know. Not about me, not about this show, but about him. About someone who demands to be heard but refuses to be questioned. About someone who wants sympathy but will not accept accountability. About someone who had every privilege in life and somehow still sees himself as the victim. Piers walks back to his chair and sits down, looking directly into the camera. I stand by every question I asked today. They were fair questions, important questions, questions that deserved answers. And if Prince Harry was not prepared to answer them, he should not have agreed to come on this show. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot demand a platform and then complain when people use that platform to hold you accountable. He takes a breath, his professionalism never wavering. To everyone watching at home, I apologize that you did not get to see a full interview today. I apologize that Prince Harry chose to walk out rather than engage in good faith. But I will not apologize for doing my job. I will not apologize for asking tough questions. And I will not apologize for treating a prince the same way I would treat anyone else who sits in that chair. The camera holds on Piers' face for a few more seconds before cutting to a commercial break. Behind the scenes, the crew is already buzzing about what just happened. The producers are scrambling to figure out how to fill the rest of the airtime that was supposed to be taken up by the interview. The phones are ringing off the hook, with media outlets wanting comments, wanting reactions, wanting to know what they just witnessed. But Piers just sits there, calm and collected. He knew this was a possibility. He knew that Harry might not be able to handle real scrutiny. And in a way, the prince walking out proved Piers' point better than any answer could have. It showed everyone watching exactly who Harry is when he does not have a script, when he does not have handlers, when he is faced with someone who will not simply nod along and let him control the narrative. Outside the studio, Harry is already in his car, speeding away. His security team is trying to calm him down, trying to tell him it will blow over, that his supporters will understand. But Harry is not listening. He is replaying the interview in his head, thinking of all the things he should have said, all the comebacks he could have made. He is furious with Piers, furious with the producers, furious with everyone except himself. Because that is the thing about entitlement. It blinds you. It makes you think you are always right, that everyone else is always wrong. It makes you believe that your feelings matter more than facts, that your truth is the only truth that counts. And when reality does not match that belief, when someone dares to challenge you, you do not see it as an opportunity to grow or reflect or defend your position. You see it as an attack. Back in the studio, Piers is preparing for the next segment. He is not gloating. He is not celebrating. He is just doing his job, the same way he always has. Because at the end of the day, that is what this was about. Not a personal vendetta, not a desire to embarrass anyone. Just a journalist asking a public figure to back up their claims. Just basic accountability. And if Harry could not handle that, well, that was his problem. Not Piers, not the show's, his. The interview that was supposed to last an hour ended up being barely 20 minutes long. But in those 20 minutes, more was revealed than anyone expected. Not about the accusations Harry wanted to discuss, not about his grievances with his family, but about his character, about his inability to be challenged, about his belief that his royal blood made him immune to the same standards everyone else has to meet. Piers looks at the camera one more time before the show goes to break. Accountability is not cruelty, he says simply. Questions are not attacks, and walking away does not make you brave. It just makes you unprepared. The lights dim, the cameras stop rolling, but the impact of what just happened will reverberate for days, weeks, maybe longer. Because in 36 seconds of explosive confrontation, when Harry said those words about being special and above questioning, everything changed. The mask slipped, the carefully constructed image cracked, and everyone watching saw exactly who was really behind it. The host who never backed down, and the guest who could not handle the heat.